the walls are lost the line. There's a rare few who think outside the box together for the crew. To break the equations, not bound to any rule. Exposing to the world the universe is all view. It takes the talent of the craftsman, it takes the mind of the fool, to make the vision realize energy and matter in a duel. To a break, to a duel. The old man Bills was running through his head. Cheryl probably got it hiding under his bed. Penny up to any, making power for days. Don't listen to a word that the straight no says. Mike building batteries to power a ship. Victor comes in talking math, that's the water spiral dip. Sean chucking plasma volts a mile long. Sheila on the video making tone trumpet prongs. Bernie breaking matter, they said it couldn't be done. And to all the people in the chat, I know you're having fun. So it's time to spend your Saturday with the dope big old man Bills.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathan, otherwise known as Old Man Bills. Joe, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, happy Friday. What's going on, everybody?
Gotta love it when it's Friday, man. Talk a little Torah and stuff like that. Really cool.
Best part of the week, because it means that my days off have begun and we get to kick it off with little physics celebration, right?
Right on, man. All right, Joe, I'll let you lead us off, man.
All right. So this is kind of like it's a bit of a simplistic topic, but the depth that it really goes is, I think, something that we skate over sometimes. And toruses are everything everywhere. They're pretty much the universal field geometry. Okay. I think that the best way to think about it is, because it's an upper dimensional object in the first place, right, that we visualize as having like an internal structure. It's important to realize that that internal structure is both inside and out, and that is the fact that creates a flow pattern within a torus. Now, what kind of connects a toroidal flow motion with some of the observable things that we see in field geometries and with particles and things of that nature is the fact that there's rotational axis elements to it, which is why a lot of times you're going to get a toroidal shaped field when you have general magnetism, because again, the vector of the electromagnetic energy is spiralytic, and the spiralytic vector, it creates magnetism. Now, if you do away with what's causing or what is of the torus in the first place, and you just think of it as a field without anything else, because I think that that's the easiest way to kind of get your head around it. Again, from a matter of perspective, we could look at it as having an external geometry and an internal geometry. And the external geometry is going to be one very similar to the Earth, where you have rotation and also a field that is emanating in and out, right? So that circular rotation is also going in and out, creating more or less an external vortex, okay, which only then gets compressed and expands in the internal geometry of the torus. The internal geometry of the torus is where the energy is coming in is the compression zone, and then where it's going out is a state of decompression. Now, the ratio of how these toruses are broken down into compression and decompression zones are actually one of the attributes of the toroidal flow motion that can actually be manipulated through electromagnetism and the different energy ratios and where they're introduced. Okay, so that's where the geometry of, like, for instance, in Nathan's case, it would be a Tesla coil, where that geometry of the primary and the secondary is going to impact the toroidal geometry of that particular field. Now, where it kind of gets interesting with it, okay, is something that we really overlook most of the time, okay? Because we're so concentrated most of the time on this external spherical field shape and the internal geometry of the compression null zone, so to speak, in the center, and then decompression zone. But there's obviously an area in between the internal structure and the external sphere. And those are critical because it's important to understand that there is a direct correlation and relationship of the energy flow of the exterior and the interior in conjunction with one another, equatorially and hemispherically. Okay, so what that ends up doing is creating different sectors of flowing eddy currents. These flowing eddy currents, because of the geometry, and you could track it if you were to draw arrows around the flow of the external and internal structures, so to speak, you would then be able to determine what the eddy currents would look like in their hemispherical interactions. Then you'd also be able to see what it's doing at the equator. And what you realize is that you're dealing in, if it's a balanced torus, with just complete opposites everywhere you look. So that's what keeps the flow going. In the context of the Tesla coil, like you and I had discussed earlier, there's a couple different arrangements of primaries and secondaries that you can work with. And those different configurations ultimately lead to a different field geometry of the toroidal field and flow patterns. What that means is that in a traditional Tesla coil setup where you have a primary coil at the bottom and then you have the secondary coil at the top, the torus is actually coming in through the center or the top of the secondary coil as the flow is going to go in. All right. However, it's important to realize that because there's an offset of the primary, that actually further compresses expands the compression zone and kind of flattens and squishes the decompression zone, giving almost the observable effect of what you might think of as like a monopole, but it's not a monopole. The fact is that the opposite pole in that instance, okay, is actually just in a different place because of the geometry of the setup. Now, if you were to move that primary coil to the center of the secondary and make it a bipolar Tesla coil, then you would actually have a traditional balanced toroidal flow setup where you would have poles on each side more traditionally, and they would be more in an equilibrium as far as that's concerned. But obviously the experimental data and results that are observable through Nathan's work and others, we know that the reduced decompression zone in the normal Tesla coil setup is actually optimal for radiant energy. So that's something to bear in mind too, but it's definitely a geometric effect.
Now, I agree with all of that except for one thing. I think it's
Sure.
a monopole. And
Sorry?
I think it's a monopole. Sorry, is my mic not up?
That's fair. Yeah, it was. I couldn't hear it. So
Okay. So here's what I mean by that. It literally cuts off at the bottom. So as soon as you pulse it, it can't get below it unless you put the rod through it to give it a channel. That's the only way it gets below it, but it cuts, so it's null. So everybody puts their electronics right below the coil itself. That's why you always see it right there, because there's no zone for it to mess with in the coil, right? That zone comes out, can't mess with this. It's almost like it goes around like this, comes, you know what I mean? And goes like that.
okay, so I want to play devil's advocate with you based on what you just said. What happens in your room when you leave the Tesla coil running?
Oh, it doesn't go beyond the point it should.
Well,
it will have
there some
ionized
kind of
air.
saturation?
There's an ionization if you have breakout. If you don't, then it doesn't.
So I think the point I was trying to make as to why it's not a monopole is because you can't just have necessarily a compression zone without an output of decompression, because that would collapse a toroidal flow pattern. That's my opinion on it, and I think that, in just of my opinion of it, whenever you're dealing with saturation at that point, it's because you've pushed the other pole beyond the scope of the external toroidal flow pattern. Okay, pulling it outside that normal spherical outer shell, so to speak. Okay, and once you do that, now you have a situation where it's diffuse and uncompressed by the external structure of the torus itself, leading to a saturation of the energy in the immediate area in a diffuse state. Okay, so it's not that necessarily, in my opinion at least, and we could disagree, and I don't have the stuff to experiment with it myself, I guess, but it's not that it's gone, it's just not as you would expect, and it's not where you would expect. And it's not necessarily manifesting in the way that you would expect, because with the bipolar that there's a different result. That's kind of how I see it, at least.
Well, I don't know that it has a toroidal flow at all in that way you're describing it. Okay,
Well, tell me what you think it's doing.
I think honestly, it pulses out like this. It creates one half of the field. Is what it's essentially doing. So, if I put the coil all the way through and make a bipolar tester coil, I'll get my second half. I'll get both halves, and then they'll oscillate against each other, right? Because one will always be stronger than the other. One will have more energy than the other, so that will naturally come out of North Pole or the South Pole. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think you're getting the other half is the problem, because it's not coming back under. If you put the light bulb under, it's not lighting up in the same way, only based on what it'll light up from the primary itself. So, yeah, I don't think it's doing the same flow pattern, but a bipolar would absolutely do it. So,
I know a bipolar would. That's the traditional toroidal geometry.
But one of the problems is, Joe, is the pulse in the first coil. I don't think it's going in a toroidal fashion. I think it's going out like this. It's just going like this, like a pulse in the way that it's set up. And I say that because I've done testing where when you put it directly across from another coil, I can get that other coil to turn on and shoot out plasma just like it was connected to the other one, but it doesn't have to be at all to the circuit. So it's saying that it's adding the zone there and making it bipolar to blow out both ends. So I think it's just one side.
I mean, it also could be to do with the relationship between the primary and the secondary, just generally. Because one thing I will tell you, and frankly, I respect you enough to not say no matter what you say, I respect you enough not to say that, but as close to that as I could possibly say, the primary absolutely has a toroidal flow pattern. And what it is picking up on the secondary, okay, if it's in resonance, there really is only so many things that it could do, when it picks up resonance off of a toroidal pattern. I mean, that's just, it's because it's like, it's sort of like a belt, that's run on an engine. If you pull the belt, then the wheels turn. That's sort of what's happening between the primary and the secondary, except with energy in a waveform. So,
now, okay, so you say that it's got a toroidal motion. The problem is the winding isn't set up for a toroidal motion. It's wound like this. If I wanted a toroidal motion, I'd wind it around like this. Okay, little circles all the way around, then I would get the flow to come in, right? And it would go out and it would keep creating the flow like this. The problem is it's built this way. So it's built this way, it pulses this way. That's what I'm saying.
okay.
So when it does that, it shuts the gap in the bottom and it brings it further out. But I think honestly, Joe, what we're missing in all of this is in order for the Earth to have a north and a south pole, it has to be a bipolar Tesla coil. It cannot be one, just a regular one. It has to be bipolar. And it's because of the flow pattern. It's why Exotic over there, Jeremiah, ran
Oh no, I see them chiming in.
he ran the laminar flow pattern on his primary coil. Now, let's bring this to another level. And I just saw Timtron do this. Let's take a toroid. Let's take magnets, put them in between them, and let's put another toroid.
Mhm.
Hey, when you run the windings on each side, you get something very unique. Okay? It will shut on and off and resonate back and forth, man. They call it a meg, but it's so unique, it's like a bit. So if you do two different coil setups in that, man, that's a beautiful piece of machinery right there. But it's definitely over unity in what it's doing. So yeah, just
No, nice. I mean, that's super interesting. And dual toroids are probably the most fascinating of them all, because usually when you have there's usually that in a more native sense, unless induced, they're going to be counter-rotational in nature, and it's going to create all new torsion zones that occur, which is going to amplify the field geometry to a certain degree, which is nice, I think. Unless if I'm just completely off point today, and frankly, maybe I am, but
well, I thought like the same way you did until I started running the test.
yeah.
As soon as I saw that null zone, I was like, what's going on here? Why is it not doing that? Why are all the circuits underneath it? You know what I mean? I kept asking the questions, and when I started playing with it, dude, I put this thing in a monster resonance, and there's nothing under it. Like I can hide things under it, and they won't zap me.
All right, so this is a little loaded, okay, but take it as you will. The closer that you get something into pure resonance, okay, provided that there's a toroidal flow pattern, because it's just so natural that generally things fall into that flow pattern, okay, whenever you're dealing with, this type of electromagnetic vectoring. The closer you get it into resonance, the tighter all that pulls in, the higher the compression, the less the magnetism, which ultimately distorts the toroidal field geometry from our kind of sense. I don't think even under those conditions, which is the observable principle that we're kind of dealing with here, I don't even think under those conditions that it's not necessarily still a somewhat toroidal flow pattern. It might still, you could break it out, into a different vector, which is which is why, taking back what I said before, because I'm good like that, I'm never so firm in belief of anything I say that I'm not, that I refuse to change my mind. You know better than I do, frankly. I don't play with this stuff, right? But if it's radiant in that just means that it changed the vector of the toroidal flow. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's absent altogether through that compression. I mean, I'm just kind of trying to work with that, because I'm trying to understand how that with those geometries, you could totally collapse a torus. And I think maybe that's where I'm having a hard time,
I think it's direction of energy. When you wrap a coil, just any kind of coil, and you wrap one way like this or wrap one way like this, it either goes forward or it goes reverse. So the either it's north or it's south. It's just the way you wind it, right? But if you cap that on one end, it'll only go one way. You see, that's kind of the thing with coil winding. So, but if you're wrapping it this way, then it's not going to have the vortex. You have to wrap it this way. So when we look at the rodent coil, it wraps over and then down in. So it definitely has the flow pattern.
Well, it definitely has it then, because it's physically, geometrically there. That's how you're enticing it to move. But anytime you're introducing waveforms that are in resonance, they're gonna flow in those same types of native patterns because of how they ultimately interact with one another and how they accumulate. So there's, that's sort of the nature of it, is it kind of comes back down to, at least for me, the way I'm making sense of it, the same as things that are like to accumulate generally, they also like to accumulate in that same circumstance as well. And it's that accumulation that entices the flow pattern. Obviously, when you bring the physical geometry into, in this case, a coil, that's going to entice that. Of course, that's going to happen as well. But there's a certain amount of it that I believe happens natively, as just as a as a consequence of universal law, so to speak. I think that's the best way to put it.
Well, okay, check this out. So I was doing some stuff earlier. Joe and I were discussing whether the inside of the Tesla coil and the outside of the Tesla coil both had a pulse. So I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that's the same time every week. That also knows that I do a live at the same time every week.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't lose my audio this time, though, so that's a plus.
No, you did good. No, what I found today is I put the probe in the center of the Tesla coil, and I also put it on the outside. Now, you have to adjust because the inside has a lot more power because it's concentrated, so the amount of voltage is higher. But it showed it 180 degrees out of phase, but in a special way. So most people, when they see phases, they see the top hump like this, and then the next one come over a little bit, or the next one like this. What I'm saying is it doesn't go down and go like this. It goes one, and directly under that same one, it goes one. So as they go, they build out and come down. So there's a pulse, then there's an impulse. There's a pulse, then there's an impulse. Exactly the way resonance works, but it shows you from the inside and outside of the coil. Put it on my oscilloscope, man, and it was just awesome to see it.
Yeah, do you have the video or the screenshot of it?
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Sorry. Mm-hmm. There you go.
There it is.
Now it's not 100%, but it's close enough to pull it in resonance. So it's just interesting how it's working. That's dead on, inside and outside, the way it works. So
yeah, no, it's interesting to see how the antinode on the yellow line is consistently below that of the green line. I don't know which one's the inside and which one's the out.
Well, the inside is the blue line, and the yellow line is the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But just remember, I had to throw some resistors on it in order to drop the voltage on the blue line because it was off the oscilloscope.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty cool, man, to see that in what we're doing, because now you understand that as much as you have like an explosion, you have an implosion of energy as well. You have a pulse and you have an impulse. And it makes perfect sense why that one wire energy works in the center now. You know it's pushing in, you know what I mean? And then you know it's pushing out. So, yeah, it was just cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks, I mean, it's not 180 degrees out, but it's close.
Yeah, it was close.
It's close, and maybe like 120.
Well, it was close enough to hit it, but just off enough to create the vortex.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that.
Well, I mean, right, but that's the fractal ratio at play there. When you think about it, that's the difference. If you have it a full 180, it's more circular than it is, a vortice.
Right, but it makes sense because the winding goes like this and goes up, right? So you naturally have a vortex already being built. Now you're seeing it pulse like this, one out of the other just a little bit, but at the right size. It's just like a verification thing, man. So you could see things going like that. And it just helped my research a little bit and what I was doing. So let's get back to this flow pattern and these toroids, because
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
think,
I mean, again, I think that for me, the one thing that I'm still trying to get my head around fully, and that we need more experimentation and data on, is less the external geometry, less the internal geometry. Because, if you're dealing with a balanced torus, like we kind of understand what that is. What I'm more interested in is, again, the hemispherical and equatorial eddy flow patterns that occur, that basically work as the gear between the external flow patterns and the internal flow patterns, and how they actually interact with each other, in states of torsion. So I think that that's something that we need a little bit more thought process on, a little bit more experimentation on, because I think that that's a major driving force on what the outside field and the inside compression and decompression zones are, ultimately doing.
okay. Sorry, I'm looking for a picture right now. So, man, I really need that picture. Where is that?
Where's the pitch?
I saw it this morning, man. Come on. Oh, I hate doing this.
Old man, by the way, on our weight loss contest,
Yeah,
you're
go ahead.
screwed, because I made an elixir that is absolute magic.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, please
Yeah.
explain.
What did I do? I grated some fresh ginger, like loads of it. Black pepper, turmeric, caraway seed, cinnamon stick, clove, cayenne pepper, made like a tea, and then concentrated it down. And then I mix it together with like apple cider vinegar, like with, mother, like old school Bragg's. In fact, I think it's old school to the point where it's before they even got bought out, like over a year ago. And salsa. And it's good. I've been drinking it all day for days.
Okay. No, everybody's got their tricks, man.
Alchemy at work there, man. I'm telling you.
The human body can only do so much a day, Joe.
That's it. I know it works because it looks like urine.
Oh, let's just drink away.
No, it's delicious. Cinnamon sticks and cloves in there too. I think I forgot to say that.
Here it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I wanted to show you this because of the way the rodent coil works. This is one of the lugs on the rodent coil. And what it's set up to do is on every single one of them, there's a snap ring that goes over it, and then another coil winding gets set. So depending on how you do this, Joe, you can get the laminar flow you always talk about right down the center if you just extend it a little bit, right? You put a straight piece in there. Now I have it going around like this. I don't necessarily think you'll need it because the directional flow of the rodent coil is already turning, but this turns, it gives you those extra wheels to go around each one, right? So this is what's going to be my next rodent coil. And I've been looking at this for a while. I had to rebuild the primary today, the main part, because I don't like uneven numbers in there. They don't work out if you want to go forward and reverse on some of them. So I had to fix the whole thing. I was going to just print it out, but it locks in there. But the open areas also allows you to run a coil in there that attaches to nothing, because it's going to pick up a very specific flow pattern when you do it. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So anyway, I wanted to show that because it's kind of doing something that not everybody does. And Jeremiah does it in his coil. It's straight and then curved on the outside, right? Well, we got the rodent coil, which is curved all the way, but now I'm adding the straight vector to it. Now on each individual one, I can do it. It matters because it's going to amplify how much the rodent coil pulls in and
Yeah.
which flow pattern you want as you turn between the two. And by the way, the rodent coil is a bit messed up. And I'll just tell you why. When you go back on itself, it ruins it.
Mm.
And you want it to go one whole coil, then one whole coil, because distance matters in resonance. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. You want to pulse one coil versus the other, the inside versus the outside, your distances better be pretty much dead on. Or you're going to have to use capacitors to make up the distance, which sucks. If you put it in dead resonance, one to the other, top to bottom or inside to outside, so much easier to work with. I do not like that bend in it where it wraps one way, then it bends and wraps the other way. Absolutely hate it. So
I mean, the more axis, vector axes that you introduce as far as like, flow patterns are concerned, more the potential for you to build out different layers is kind of what it boils down to. You see that with Gerald's geometry coils and stuff like that, that you have you have purposeful, constructive and deconstructive interference patterns that are occurring that are actually creating new vectors, without, through the flat geometry of the coil. Okay, as opposed to actually forcing the geometry of the coil into, other axes dimensionally of the windings itself. So, there's like it said, there's always more than one way to get the job done. It's because of the upper dimensionality of the forces at work, so to speak, that allow for these phenomena to really occur as far as shaping the flow patterns generally. So, I don't disagree that, you want like an awesome Torus to be able to, like, the thing's literally a Torus. You're running the wave through it. Of course, you're going to get some kind of toroidal flow out of it because you're forcing that hand, but there's just simply more than one way to, achieve that same result.
Look,
Through interference.
Yeah, I don't deny that. Here's the thing, though. If you don't throw everything at the wall, you'll never know what sticks. So
yeah,
we can all write it off and look at it and understand what the flow pattern is, which is correct. But what happens when you put different patterns into it? You see, a lot of people tell me you can't put a rod down the center of a Tesla coil and get anything different. I do it all day long. They tell me you cannot start another Tesla coil with that Tesla coil. I do it all day long. They said you can't get plasma out of it, but I do it all day long.
All day, yeah.
So here's the thing. You just literally have to just drop it and do everything you can to it, because there's never a sense of what type of energy you're putting into it. You go, well, I'm just going to put pure magnetics in this part. Well, what happens when magnetics meet a radiant field? What happens when you want to do it in static? You see, it's not just the fields, it's the interactions of energy that you put in. That's what you also got to test. So I'm all for, a specific scientific background and doing all that. And I'll agree with your results based on your machine. But I'm going to tell you, special things happen when you throw things out of whack that everybody else thinks doesn't work. That's been a fact that's happened every time I've done it. So
yeah. Couple things from the chat, just because
go for it.
It's always important to chew into that a little bit. Yanni, who has now been a regular here for weeks, so thank you for that, buddy.
Yeah.
He's posing the basic questions. What is flowing? Is current flowing? And what's a field? Okay. Well, isn't that a good place to start, I suppose?
Yeah, go for
it. I think no matter how I say it, somebody's going to disagree with me. And guess what? As always, I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Yeah,
but
for it.
what's flowing is the wave oscillations okay, and in their interactive patterns, okay, through the geometry of the, in this context, the coil, okay, they're building up and interacting with each other, and because there's a directional, there's a source of where the current is coming from that entices a form of motion. It's that motion of the oscillative wave current that ultimately is going to flow and shape whatever geometry you're talking about. The field is the reach of the interaction of the electromagnetic mode that you're able to observe. So if it's magnetism, it's magnetism. If it's plasma, it's plasma. If it's static, it's static. If it's hot, it's cold. Whatever you want to throw it into, but that's what the field is sort of the extent of the diffuse reach in which it could be effective. So that's kind of it's such a simple question that's kind of hard to answer, which is ridiculous, but it's definitely something that we've agreed and disagreed on, and on with multiple people on multiple counts. But I think for the purposes of what we're discussing, that's the best way to kind of visualize what is flowing and what a field is and what's being created here.
Well, it's basically just the energy that isn't stuck directly to the outside of the wire. It produces energy outside of that zone, usually 3/4 of an inch or longer, and you get that energy. That's the field. That's as simple as it
Listen,
gets.
you have the simple way of saying it. I'm so mid, which is like it's like the overly complicated simple way of saying it without it being the highly technical response. You know what I mean? So sorry for being convoluted. Nathan's dead on about that.
There's just a lot of different fields, and all it's based on is how far away from the wire it gets. That's all it is. So the cool thing is, man, is when you start playing with static and magnetic fields, you get special properties. And it depends how far you push them out. Now, the cool thing is try ionizing it through a bulb on both sides. Just put your plasma that comes out of this thing, put it into a bulb, and let it ionize. Then see what it does. Right down the center of this thing, man. You see, I think that's what people miss when you're starting to play with field interactions. They change how everything works. For instance, when I put the radiant energy in the rodent coil, it didn't do everything the rodent coil does. It doesn't spin magnets. Okay. It doesn't try to do over unity devices. It saturates the living daylights out of it. It starts to ionize some of the air in the locality around it and pull it in just based on the flow of the coil itself. And it pulls it in. And you could tell when you pull the wire away from it, it stays on for 30 seconds more. You know what I mean? Sometimes up to a minute. If I had the whole room ionized, I can drop a ton of energy into that sucker. That's what I mean by different fields, man. You get different fields in there that do different things.
Well, right. It's a different side of the energy that you're dealing with, and when you're dealing with the flip side of the coin, so to speak, you can't expect to get the same modes that you would expect to get out of a hot energy side. What you just said reminds me so much of just like that ionic breeze that we talked about, right? That used to sharper image back in the 90s, because thing, yeah, right, that thing literally it had literal flow to it and created tons of static, was ionizing the air. Everything was clinging to the place. It was literally sucking it in. And it's because it used that other side of energy. Which is cool to think that, we had a consumer product back in the 90s kind of, doing it proof of concept, and then it just faded into obscurity. Because that was more than just a spark gap ozone generator, I mean, it did that too, but that was kind of just like the secondary effect.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like the toroidal flow, I think when you put it in a magnetosphere situation, you really have to consider every part of what it does. Because I honestly think, man, it's pulsing out. It's what keeps the field when it comes in like this. It wants to come back in on itself, and when it does, you have to push that back out. You know what I mean? So that it stays out and flows out. And there's going to be a little bit of this going on with it, but you have to know that. So how you build each field matters. So that when I say it's like this and it goes like this, that's what I'm saying. It's pushing it out and holding it out there so that it can go all the way around, or else it would come in like this and then go back around. And it really sucks. So I've had things do that. And then there's a crap zone right there in the middle. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it makes for a bad experiment. So I think a lot of people aren't realizing that when they build these things. And some of these coils are based on compression. If you don't realize that by now, it's built on compression.
Yeah,
It,
big time.
yeah, compression between the wires, compression in the fields that they create. And I do 100% think the rodent coil is a physical, visual image of energy, of the exact flow
I
pattern you're
believe
supposed
that
to make
too.
with
Yeah,
energy.
if you were, yeah, it absolutely is. And again, it displays the same characteristics, flow patterns and stuff that you experience. And that doesn't mean that it can't be manipulated, which is the whole point. And it's the point of the geometries of the coils you're running too, is to manipulate that native field. You know, it, again, overused maybe, but true. As above, so below. It's everywhere. Okay, it's everywhere, and you don't rid of it. It's part of it. Now, like anything else, how you manipulate that to get what you want out of it is another story.
But see, that's what it makes me worry. I think there's two toroidal flows that are going on. And it could be one. There's definitely it doesn't necessarily have to be a coil. It could be a bulb shape and it could do the same thing. I think there's two different things going on. We don't see this thing the right way at all.
Mm,
So it's not playing out that way. Every time I build it in the lab, it builds wrong. And I'm building it based on the way everybody thinks it is, right? And then when I get to it and I turn it on, it's not doing what I want it to do. It's not creating what I needed to create. So I'm really struggling with that. And it's like, for instance, today I'm over here building coils, like, you know what I mean? To get each resonant frequency of one entire coil, there's 3 separate coils that go with that,
right.
along with the main coil. So uh, ran it in
Yeah.
reverse, and funny things happen when you do. So I ran the coil that's about this big, right? And it should be around 900 kilohertz is where it should resonate at. I took the coil that should resonate at 600 kilohertz, okay? Put it right next to it. What I ended up doing was putting enough energy in there to blast out plasma. So you could capacitor both sides of that sucker and get all kinds of energy. And you would think it's the, you know what I mean, smaller coil and the bigger coil, or the, you know what I mean, just it's opposite, but it's not.
Right. You know, I
Strange.
I'm a firm believer of, and I wish I was just knew a little bit more and was just a little bit smarter and had a little bit more drive to be able to actually crack the code and figure out what it is in like an equation. But that's when it kind of falls apart to the math, because I firmly believe that all all of this has to do with specific ratios that exist. It
Mhm.
all has to do with frequency and ratios and proportion and relationship with one another. Now, if you could crack what the code is on these ratios and what the proportions look like, then you kind of have the key to the door of whatever you want. Um, referring back to Malcolm Bendel and how he made his thunderstorm generator, the spheres in it, sphere within a sphere within a sphere. It's like a 1 inch ball inside a 2 inch ball inside a 3 inch ball or 4 inch ball. I forget. But whatever his ratio is, worked with the resonance that he was working with that particular machine. Right. And it has to be that ratio. If it's not that ratio, it doesn't work. So there's a direct relationship between what you're putting in, you know, what you want to get out and what it is, and all those things have to be aligned in order for it to, be correct. I mean, people are throwing all sorts of things up in the chat right now. Is it saying the golden ratio? I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, so what does the golden ratio ultimately get you? It gets you a spiral, but you know that the spiralitic pattern is only one thing that you're looking for. So I'm not going to say it's not that, but it's sort of not that. If it was the spiral that you're looking for and that's all, then that's it, right? But that's not it. And it's more than just one factor, and it's fractal in its nature. I don't know. That's the best way I could put it. But to me, that's just the key to it all. If you find what that ratio is, you work with that ratio with what you're building, and then you're going to get it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a math portion here. All right, Joe, let me show you this. Okay. Wanted to see if I couldn't get this coil to resonate with this coil. This one here is not attached to this one in any way, so it's wireless. There is a wire coming off the secondary right here to a capacitor that goes off to the black light. Let's turn it on and see if we can't get this thing to work. Lights on. Both of them are. Good resonance. There we go. That was not connected to anything, but we definitely got a breakout. I guess you can get them to resonate, different sizes. One's double the size of the other. It's kind of interesting how that works. You can see we're not even in a good resonance right there. But it matches what this coil is. I mean, you can't do anything about that. Look at that. But it needed that stuff to be attached to the end of it. So it's quite a bit out of where that one is, but I can get it to resonate based on the capacitance on the back end of it. Now, a lot of people talk. Oh, right there. We always talk about this with Ben in the rodent coil, the capacitance on the back end of the circuit.
Yeah.
So it's completely relevant when you're doing this, when you're trying to pull energy out of it. Did you match the capacitance based on the amount of capacitance on the back end? You know what I mean? Because then it starts to resonate properly. You follow me?
What you just said actually ties into what I was about to say, which is where your center point is, where your zero line lies, right? So I was just thinking when they were saying golden ratio before, and how, well, yeah, that's how nature is emulated. That's because 162 is equal to ambient zero, if that's what nature is using. Which means that in order to drop it to an actual zero, you need to take into consideration the natural flow patterns of your ambient environment, right? So if that's what it is, and it's 162, right, then realistically that has to become an offset to get you to an actual, not an actual zero, but to a more neutral ambient state that then could allow for your resonance to actually occur. So I mean, it directly has to do with, like, what it is on the back end, because that's the same thing as saying you need to bring it closer to that midpoint, in order to have it fall into resonance. Oh, losing my screen. There we go.
Yeah, I agree with that. You got to find that middle point, and that's kind of the thing here. It built that field, a very hot field, by the way. Those black lights don't come on that bright. You got to pull some power if you're going to do it that way.
You do. They're even when you power them like how they're supposed to be used, they don't light up right. So, yeah.
All right, Joe. You want to see how much power I got out of it? And
Let's see what you got, Nathan.
I got a different coil here, different setup.
All right, throw your
Like
junk on the table. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Always doing something different, man. Watch this. I'm going to turn on this coil right here. Got it connected. But look at where the primary is at. It's going to have contact with this coil. Now, I simply have a razor blade connected to a capacitor and another cable. And I'm going to find the wire right here. Kind of hard to see. I'm going to make that sucker spark. Again, this big one here is not connected to anything. Yeah, look at all that breakout. See, we're resonating really well. No breakout here. It's like welding.
Yeah, man. Check that.
There's a lot of heat in there.
Understatement.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Popped off. Ooh, that's that copper. That sucker was hot. Look at that. Okay. So is there energy on that backside doing that? Oh, yeah. Now notice where the primary was. It was shooting out, Joe, like this. Straight across. It was that. I could have done that with the top of that big coil or the bottom. It would have done the same thing, but it put out a massive amount of energy.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it burnt that sucker up good too. Yeah.
No, that's cool to see.
That's why I think it was working that way, by the way, because when I set that in the center, it just went like this, dude. And it sparked it and pushed it down. It hit it and it pushes it up. You know what I mean? Either way. And that's what that field does in the center.
Yeah.
And man, it's like a pastry bag. You know what I mean? You hold one side and squirt it.
I mean, I was gonna say a water hammer, like the same as the pyramid concept, sort of like that.
Ooh, you do know you could put a piezo to these coils and make them really push out some energy.
Oh, I assume you could, but I'd like to see it.
I'll set it up.
Things.
Oh, I was doing it when I was working on my gravity flyer. I was doing it. Man, they put out some energy on these Tesla coils because it pushes the inside field and it pushes the outside fields and brings them to double. So I did testing on it too, man. What's up, Mike? So yeah, they're like a welding rod.
We got the whole crew watching tonight. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was feeling good enough to get out there and do some experiments on this, Joe, so that I can lay down more theory and more theory. Because those little coils, they're for a reason, man. Like I said, I broke down one big coil, found the resonance spots, and I want to see which ones work with which. So, I mean, I put the little one in there because I was having no luck when I put the bigger one in there. So the lower resonance value was not doing anything good for me. When I put the higher resonance value in there, it started to affect the lower resonance value coils. So it was opposite of the way I thought it would work. But now I'm getting the energy to pull out, but it's not giving me that same energy. It's not giving me that free flow, expanding electric field. It's giving me an amperage field.
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about this mechanically, it kind of starts to make more sense because if you think about it as a vibration, right, and what it would take to get something to vibrate, that it otherwise wouldn't want to because it's just not wound that way, so to speak, right? You would need that higher output for there to be a broader band of wavelength in order for it to potentially fall into resonance. Like it's just sort of one of those things. I mean, if something works at a lower native frequency generally, it then that becomes very, very hard to disturb, and sort of like Schumann's resonance with Earth becomes very hard to disturb that resonance, right? Like to actually make a physical change is because it's such a, it resonates at such a low frequency. So if you have something that is tuned to resonate at a low frequency, you're really going to need to throw it a range of stuff in order for it to fall into some kind of, resonance with the rest of everything.
Hmm.
That's sort of the way that I look at it. It's like being closer in the, in the range of a lower frequency doesn't necessarily help it in that circumstance. It's more looking for a wavelength that is compatible with its own native resonant frequency.
So John asks, is a hot field? When it comes out of that second coil, it is. Oh, it is. It acts more like a DC flyback than it does a Tesla coil at that point. The amps in there are monster, man. So we were trying to pull it out of the one-wire energy. This is more Don Smith pulling it out of, the bigger coil. So he runs all the small coils, get them proportionally set, and then he runs it all to the big one, which has a bigger amperage flow. It's that big one sucking in all the amperage. It's just a different understanding, and it's one that we have to test out and show everything on so people have it, because they guarantee you they don't know that this exists.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I think people should know is that efficiency is the key to all of it. So the less loss that you have and the higher efficiency you have, now you could do with it and gain cumulatively, right, more than you would with a lower efficient system and losses. And having those high efficiencies all has to do, and to tie it right back to the beginning of what we were talking about, it all has to do with having smooth flow patterns that have a compression and expansion element to it to keep it stable, because that's the stabilizing factor of energy flow patterns is in a state of compression and expansion. That's how cavitation works and is sustained. That's how pretty much everything works and is sustained. So the higher the stability, the higher the efficiency. The higher the efficiency, the more you could gain, compress, and get out of it through constructive interference. And compression. And that's the same stuff that leads to what we talked about many times in the past, like cascading effects. When you get a runaway, when you have high degrees of efficiency, it almost always results in something like that.
Yeah. So John was asking in there if this was cold or hot energy on the primary. It was hot energy on the primary, but I have done it with cold energy on the primary in a bipolar Tesla coil. Not a standard one, but a bipolar. I could get that amperage field. So I didn't test from, which side was the strongest, because it might have made a difference, but I didn't test that. I wasn't thinking about it. I just wanted to see if it'd run it. And it ran it, and there was a lot of amperage there. So you could do it with either one.
When you run the primary cold, does that flip the field of the secondary automatically?
Yeah.
Probably good.
Yeah, automatically puts it hot on the outside and cold on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's automatic, unless you put something down the center, which changes that value. The more things that are down the center, it changes the outside to a hotter field. So, yeah, it changes it more to a regular transformer at that point, is what I should say. You're going to get normal field voltage out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it still blows me away when I watch these guys on these Tesla shows do it all wrong. And it's just perplexing to me that they've never tried any of the things that you do. And their results really, really show for it because they just have way more energy going in. They're much, much bigger coils that are falling into resonance, and they're really only able to transmit energy with, a couple of feet away. Like, and that's just a shame to see, when we've already seen what you've done. So
Well, because they're building sparklers.
yeah, right. And listen,
They-
demonstration has a purpose too. You get public interest that way. But like, if that's all you're doing with it, you're totally missing the point.
Well, it doesn't bother me they do that because I love the way it looks. Trust me, I
Yeah,
love voltage
course.
no matter what. It bothers me when they go to put it into a resonance mode, in a DC mode that's clearly meant for resonance, right? And they can't do it more than a couple feet. That's what bothers me because they haven't learned how the thing actually works. They just learned one way. They didn't go through and take the time and do everything. But then again, a lot of people don't, man. I'll be honest with you. There's
Yeah.
very few people, unless you show them the test, they'll just be dumbfounded and not know what you're talking about at all. Trust me, I run across that all day long. You know what I
Yep.
mean? They always tell me how it works, but I'm the one that made it work. So don't you think I
True.
should know? I mean,
Hey, listen, I know you know, but I'm still waiting to see the rarefied gas, brother.
the rarefied gas, is that what you said? 'Cause I
Yeah.
got some of that for you.
Yeah. Got it. Well, I don't know. The way I've been eating, I think I've had plenty of that too lately.
Oh man, it's worse when you don't eat because then it has time to ferment. All right, Joe. Let's take a look at this, man. All right. Dennis has some cool stuff going on. So that's water in there.
Yep.
Those are those gas tubes. Has he got that on a bipolar coil?
I didn't see. I was paying attention to the tub.
Oh. Might be running that one wire to that coil.
He says yes.
Yep. That's what it looked like. Yeah, I see the coil under it. Nice. Let's see. He's got. He's got no wires in the water, but just a radiant field. Oh, look at that coil. That looks familiar.
Yes, it does.
Hold on. I got to get back to that. I just want to look at it for a second. It's got like two totally different colors going on there. You got some black and some pink, man. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
Look at
not
that.
too shabby.
There's some Bret Hart action going on right there, man.
Old school, man.
Yeah. It's like a root beer brown coil, too. Wicked.
Cool.
Oh, look at that.
Mhm.
More energy in the water.
Yep, like a lot more. Well, I mean, medium has a lot to do with it, just generally too. It is just so much harder to execute this through air, in the field than it is through a medium like water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that coil. That base looks beautiful on there too.
Yeah,
It's
sure
so
enough,
interesting,
beautiful work.
man.
Beautiful work.
Yeah, very good.
I want to give I want to give props where props are due also, not only to Dennis, but I was talking to Ian and he was showing me some of the stuff that he had going on recently. And
Mhm.
I don't want to show it just yet because I didn't talk to him about that, but I just want to kind of give the heads up to the community that I want to have him on as soon as he's done building and running the experiments on this because I think what he's doing is um first and foremost beautiful. His work on is always meticulous, but I'm telling you that what I saw was absolutely meticulously built, well thought out, well designed, spherical geometric, coil design with internal components as well, that he's kind of working on. And his idea behind it, at least at this stage, is to get a better understanding of some of the field geometries that are going to be occurring with how he has it set up. I know that there's some scalar components to what he's building that he's
Mhm.
very interested in, and I am too. And then there's an abundance of multiple compression zones, and it should be layering out quite a bit. Uh, that's going to be interesting to see. And again, what it ultimately amounts to and what the tests show once he has it up and running, that's a story yet to be told. I have a couple guesses on some of the observable things that he might get out of that. But, that's a story yet to be written. I'm very excited for when he shows me that. And, hopefully, God willing and everything, you'll have time to come on with us and break it all down, explain it, and show it because what I'm telling you, his idea, his train of thought on it, um, directly falls in line with a lot of the feelings and beliefs that I have on this subject
Mhm.
about a lot of the flow pattern. And the work is absolutely gorgeous, like really is. Like if you took this thing and just put it on your desk and it did nothing, it'd be worth it. Like I'm telling you, it really looks that good. Looks right out of a fucking UFO.
Well, dude, the first time I met Ian, man, he had all kinds of cool coils, dude. He builds anything he sees. You know what I mean? Every coil, and they always look beautiful. He knows exactly how many turns everything's going in there. He
Mhm.
knows every number that comes along with us and meticulously plots them out. So yeah, hats off to Ian, man. When
Yeah,
he's
and he was
ready,
and he was
absolutely.
working with and in his designs, he was working with fractal geometry
Oh, he always
and
does.
and ratios, which I
Mhm.
was like, haha, you see,
He
that's
likes
what I
the
like to
nights.
hear. So
Yeah, he likes
yeah,
the nights, man, and divisions of nine, stuff like that. Really into that. So
yep.
yeah,
So very excited for that. That's yet to come. Worth kind of getting people amped up over because I'm telling you, what I saw was, it was very nice work. Very nice
yeah,
work.
very nice, man. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna just do my testicle testing, man. For now, it's about all I can get up and get around to do. So
Yeah,
turn
man.
it
You do
on,
what
flip
you
it on.
feel able to.
Yeah, see what happens. So a lot of work to be done there too. I can't wait till Sean sends me that call, man. I'm excited. That
Oh yeah.
dude, that Death Star call. Yeah, I'm tempted right now to just print off the frame and start building one and compare them when they're done and see if I even got it right. You know what I mean? Then I'd have two.
Yeah.
Then I could
Yeah,
really
right.
do
I was
some
gonna
stuff.
say having two of those that's an interesting proposition, frankly. I
Yeah,
think so. Having three is probably even better. So you might just want to print out two of them.
yeah. I did build something else, Joe. I built a left-handed coil and a right-handed coil. So I wanted to see when you put them in a bipolar field so that you get your primary rep for both, what it would do. Are they different? Should I have the right wound run inside the left round? You know what I mean? Just things that nature you never think of, but it might make a difference because we know tornadoes have two different windings, one on the outside, one on the inside. Might be interesting to just see if we can't create that a little bit.
It'd be interesting to see what the result of that is. I mean, they're obviously mirror images, and anytime you're dealing with mirror images, it's the same thing as saying the other side of the coin, which is something that we say all the time here. It's just the other side of the coin. So,
See,
having them in interaction with each other directly is, always a fascinating proposition.
Egyptian technology is all about mirroring. It all is. Every time I see it, I see the mirror. They're doing it all the time. So it was funny. I'm looking at. We're gonna talk to Liz tonight, man. And I'm excited because every time I see this, I come up with something new, man. And the different resonance things start to pan out as I start building it, and it matches what she keeps telling me. So I've been waiting to talk to her for weeks, man, because we still have to talk about that stuff under the temple in Egypt. There's a lot there, Joe. I was watching it this morning, man. It's a ton.
Absolutely. Well, I think our reality is some kind of weird fractal mirror, frankly. It's what I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just a weird fractal mirror of something that we're not seeing. It's underneath the veil. You can get there and find it. Yeah, but I'm excited for that talk with Liz too. It's been a while since we talked to her, and definitely want to expand on some of the stuff that we left off with last time. We didn't really spend a whole ton of time, getting into the technology end of things. We just kind of glossed over it.
Dude, that's cool. Yeah. I'll send it to you, man. Not a problem. You got to text me first because I get a lot of weird calls. So just let me know what's your number. So, yeah. All right, Joe. Let me see if I can't find the picture here real quick. I think I left it on the desktop here. I should be able to find it. We got to clarify the rules, by the way, on this. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think our original model needs some revision.
Yes. So it's Joe versus Nathan in Hot Wings. Okay, that's one of the things that's going to happen regardless of anything else that happens. So Ben said he would come in and be the wizard. So I kind of upgraded to the Emperor, man, so he can go out there and zap those wings and make the old man fall down.
Yeah, we're going to be at the conclusion of our contest. We're going to be wrapping it up with a little primetime wing eating action. Nathan says he has no heat tolerance whatsoever, so we're going to watch him suffer. By that point, I probably wouldn't have eaten solid food in God knows how long, which means that you're probably going to watch me suffer too. So for all the sadists out there in our audience, please join us for that. But if you don't know, we're telling you now, Nathan is giving away one of his Tesla coils.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to, we're going to set up a community post where you could cast your vote for, for the contest, and whoever comes closest will win. Somebody made a suggestion, and I kind of agree, with the suggestion. All right. Is cumulatively how much we both lose, okay, to the 10th of a pound, okay, should probably be like that one solid number. So if you think I lost like 21.5, and you think he lost 22.1, I forget the numbers I said already, but you get the idea. Both those numbers combined, is it so? Yeah, so 45.6 in that case, if I remember the number I said first, would be the winning number, and the closest one to that, would win. Just review what other people have put and don't put the same one, or else then, or do, and then we'll have to be creative in how we, choose the winner.
So, yeah, Mike says a flaming hole. It's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so combined number, where do they have to do it? So is it on the community post? You want the numbers in the chat? As long as we write it down.
I
What
think
is
we
it?
should just make one community post announcing officially. We'll post at some point tonight or something, or tomorrow. Officially announcing the contest when it ends. Okay, and leave a comment. There, and we'll do it that way.
Okay.
Yep, that way it's stationed there. You could pin it right to the top of that, and it'll be on the community page. And for everybody here is probably subbed anyway. It'll probably come up on your feed once or twice before you have to go looking for it. So that'll act as a bit of a reminder, and then we'll remind you every time we're on just to go onto the community page and cast your vote.
Okay, so Joe, you have what, a couple day head start on me?
I'm a couple day head start on you. And I was 221 when I weighed him. And I can assure you that that was Saturday of last week, and I am no longer 221 pounds.
Okay, that's fair. I was 325, and I can assure you, man, I'm nowhere close to that right now. So we both took it seriously. On my way to dieting, Joe has his. He's got some cabbage soup that look absolutely amazing that I would have loved to eat.
Good, man. Yeah, and I spice it up too. I'm prepping for the wings.
Yeah, got some elixir out there to clear out your beehole. Got some hot sauce brewing.
I've been ravenously urinating for the entire week. Like every 20 minutes, I'm like, it's so bad. Yeah, that's it.
No, I came up with a method a long time ago, man. It's just hard to stick to. But since we're in competition, I will. It's very simple, man. It's one chicken breast, it's a cup of rice, and you get some greens, whether they be green beans or anything else that's green on there, just within proportion to the rest of the size of the plate. Paper plate size, not anything else. It's real small. Eat once a day, and then you fast for the rest of the day. Nothing else. You can't eat anything. And water. No funny flavor stuff, nothing, just water. Okay. And I could tell you right now, man, it pushes that amount of stuff way down. And I walk 2 laps a day. So except for the last couple of days, which I couldn't because of my back. Starting tomorrow, I walk again.
Nice.
But it's rolling right off, man. No issues whatsoever.
Yeah, mine's been very similar. It's been mostly fasting all morning until about 4 o'clock. And then it's been the soup that I made, which is just straight vegetable soup, flavored up nice with some herbs and stuff. Nothing crazy there. And every so often, if I'm like really, really hungry and I could like feel it, I made kimchi like a while ago, and I've just been picking off this huge jar of kimchi that I made for months. And I'll go to that jar because I know that's not going to hurt me at all. Be good for gut health and stuff. That and the teas and whatnot. And yeah, it's been peeling. So
one thing I do know is you don't hit the wall until the second month. Okay. Somewhere in that second month, you hit the wall. We're only going 3 weeks. So it's really a race to the finish here. And one of the good things I was telling Joe out of this, man, my doctor recommended that I change my diet all the way because I'm having issues with other parts. So it's a good way for me to transition into that, to do a lifestyle change. So yeah, it's beneficial all the way around and helps me stick to it too. So that's interesting fact on my side.
Yeah, for sure. And mine's a jump start for, some kind of greater good ultimately. You peel off the first few, you kind of get all the horseshit out of your system and, get that like little immune reboot going on and whatnot. Do it long enough, you reset your metabolism a bit. And then rather than kick the detox side of it all to the side, you kind of integrate just other foods into it, with that still being a main staple of it. So you kind of keep on that momentum. And then over time, you could kind of, for me at least, just try to be a little bit more active to be able to then start doing dumb shit like eat pizza again because I love that.
I can't, the yeast in the pizza absolutely kills me, dude. I can't have it.
Yeah, I mean, probably all that crap kills me too, but
dude,
live life.
surprisingly, Joe, I don't eat a lot of junk food, man. I don't like sugar. Okay, I'm not into big sugars, not into cakes, not into cupcakes, not into that. And don't put nothing in my coffee, just black coffee. I don't really have a lot of problems. I have a problem with uric acid; it won't go away.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, that's right. I mean, if you don't want to be in excruciating pain, something's got to give. So, makes sense.
So
yeah, no, it sucks. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just an overall better situation, So,
yeah, Mike says he fasted 5 days a week. Yeah, well, doing the same thing. You one meal a day, man. So you only get one, and then you have to wait. So you better pick what you get, and just stay away from every kind of red meat and everything like that, and just stick with the chicken, or I go with some fish.
Yeah, my situation's been like probably 250, 300 calories a day, straight like clean vegetables, period, end story. Nice. And it's like, I want to say it's brutal, but I'm getting through it, man. It's fine.
Oh, man. Anyway, we'll do that contest, man. Have a little fun. Get somebody some Tesla coil action out there and let them rip it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And people, trust me, for that Tesla coil, they're going to pay attention to what we're doing and guess. Like, they got to. Definitely.
Well, dude, I'm going to ship it with a Slayer exciter circuit, man. And you turn that sucker on, it's going to work right away. No questions asked. And you're going to be going like, what the heck does this guy do? These things work powerfully. So I don't like building things that don't really do much. You know what I mean? Yeah, you turn on a little light bulb. That's all right. When I can blast it way out to, God knows where, and then put in the one wire and start freaking people out, that's when it comes out. I mean, just imagine this, Joe. You walk into my garage and I'm over there making mud conductive and holding light bulbs away from it. And you're like, dude, what are you doing? That's not natural. And you know what I mean? I don't see anybody else on the internet doing it. They do the water. They put it in the water. You know what I mean? Yeah, blast it out for me 3 feet. Let's see if you could do it.
A part of me, and I don't want to go too deep into it now, but part of me thinks that some of what you got going on too might have to do with some of the shit you do. It could be to a degree.
No, it always could be.
There's an ICD-10 for it. So, and the list of what is included underneath that is like this long. Yeah.
Like, there's sacrifice for everything, man. Like I told you before, I don't plan on doing it forever. I'm going to specialize in resonance, man, and be done with it. And then, you know what I mean? Whatever I put out there, I put out there. And at some point, we'll just host shows. So,
yeah, for sure. Then we can just talk about dumb shit all the time. And like, we won't ever be off topic because there's no topic.
There you go. Oh, right on. Yeah, we're on another live right after this, I think. So Jeremiah, you can come on and hang out with us a little bit, but we're gonna go right over to taping another one right after this.
Yeah, we'll have a little intermission in between, and then right on we're gonna do a pre-recorded. We have a couple of those coming up. Keep the channel moving, keep it going, keep it interesting.
Dude, I love the guests that come on, by the way.
Well,
they're rocking it out, man. I'm telling you, Joe, I'm listening to everything they say technology-wise because I want to trace it back to, can we do it here? And every time I turn around, they're right. It's blowing my mind, man. I'll be like, okay, they said this. And then the next day I'll literally see it on YouTube and go, hey, they just said that. And then or I'll create it myself, or somebody I know will just hit me up and say, hey, Nathan, look what I found. And it's like, oh my God, dude.
I mean, it's like a scaling thing. It's what it is, because like all the stuff that they talk about, we have, experimentally kind of proven. The issue is, okay, so now how do you implement this by and large? It's really a scaling problem at that point. And, like that's just a whole nother, side of the evil, I guess. I mean,
I think the biggest thing that's going to happen here, Joe, is we're going to find out that combination lock of resin. That's my goal. I got to find it out.
yeah.
And every time I think I get close, I get pushed further away.
I do think that there's, for what I know of it, there's some credence in the plasmoid unification model.
Mhm.
So, when you look at the plasmoid unification model, and you start pulling patterns out of that, those patterns could potentially represent your ratios for given, remember, matter always has to be a part of the equation, no matter how you are trying to isolate and manipulate, the fields for your use. Right. So the matter that you put in all has different resonant values, all have different relationships. And if you look at a periodic table, it ain't going to help you worth a damn. And the best thing that we have other than, or specifically testing every single thing for its native resonance, let's just say, is to look at the plasmoid unification model and understand what the implications of it are. I think that that's worth kind of putting out there too. It's something that I wish I probably had looked at some more to be able to more intelligently discuss it. But I think that there's something there, and I think that will unlock that combination, for what you're trying to do, and that's depending on what materials you're using to build it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So Exotic said is you had, how about this for scaling 50 pound square foot panel lift?
Yeah, well, that's scaling, I'd say. It's a
Yeah.
little bit more than the ionic thruster made out of tinfoil that weighs 50 grams at most. So
This is a big step.
I'd say that's orders of magnitude scaling, sure.
I'd love to see that one. That one I'd love to see. So yeah, we should just do a show where Jeremiah comes on and shows us some cool stuff.
Yeah,
especially stuff like that. That's also awesome. You don't have it built. Well, how do you know it lifts it? I want to see it.
We're gonna have to put the boom tech to work to make it happen at this rate, man. We can't get we can't get the densities, high enough to like work that out. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, look, if he needs help with it, let me know. But I'd love to see that happen. Sheila as a guest, yes, I agree with that.
I'd love that. She's I've looked at her YouTubes and stuff and all the stuff she does and some of the things that she's written. She's like an amazing human being, let alone like, very, very smart in terms of what she does. So yeah. She's also a little weird, and I always dig that.
Good with that. I like
that.
that.
Sometimes she's my kind of weird.
I want to have Joel on Legacy or Legacy.
Joel Legacy, have him back. Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. You know what? He's working on that Don Smith thing, dude, and he's ripping it up, bro. He's doing awesome. So I'd love to have him back on to talk about that.
Yep. And I've been once again in touch with Joe from Library of the Untold. And I'm trying to square away a day, maybe this week or early next week, for us to get him on, because I think that he's really going to bridge some gaps between some of the esoteric stuff and the technology. He does it on his channel all the time, but he does it. See, we do it from the focus of the tech. He does it from the focus of the implications of the esoteric. So it's sort of like a reverse role. It's funny because our channels cover a lot of the same stuff, just from a different lens, and it's going to be really, really incredible to have him on to share that the same topic, different perspective.
Dude, his Coral Castle video just blew my mind. All the stuff in there, man, how he tied it together, Wow. That was something like you thought that would be done in facts in 10 minutes, and here it is 30 minutes later, and you're getting more. It's like a complete overload the first time I listened to it.
I respect what he does so much because, he puts out a high quality product and it's just him working on it really for the most part. He does every aspect of the video start to finish, from the research to the script, the voicing, the art, the music, the whole 9 yards, start to finish, which is an incredible amount of undertaking for one person. And then he's just immensely talented at what he does, and he's not full of shit. So you combine that, and I'm definitely a fan, and look forward to being able to talk to him. Just again from this different angle. Have him come at it from the one way, us from the me in the middle, and Nathan from the other, and together you might really see some kind of great realization come out of that, I think. And he's really good on the ancient stuff too, just generally, which is awesome.
We gotta love that, man. Anytime somebody comes with Asian tech, I want to listen, because
he comes in with it, and it's symbolism and all that. That was the symbolism, was all the instructions for this back when. You have an understanding of that, you have a jump start ahead of everybody.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. 100% agree.
Trust me, all this stuff is written down somewhere, and we don't understand it.
Oh, it is, because, dude, there's a whole Egyptian formula system that goes on with all the hieroglyphs, that every single one of them proves out a formula. And there's hardly anybody that realizes that. I realize it because I build it and I start seeing this stuff, and I go, hey, that looks exactly like this. This builds out the exact same way of this. This works with this. It's perfect, man. I think there's a lot more out there we can learn that way. Like, for instance, when we talked about the organite, and we talked about the way that pattern goes, and then we saw all the ancient tech build it out that way. It was like, it was clear as day. They said it was there. They proved it was there. We're now relearning it's there. I mean, there's no getting around that, man. It was already built at one time. It's like when you look at, was it Josette Tepe? What is that word?
Go back like Tempe.
There you go. It looks just like the inside of a microwave. The resonance chamber of a microwave, if you cut it in half, it looks exactly the same. There's not much difference in there. It's working on resonance and chambers and how the field turns around it. It's just an example of exactly what it is. There's a lot of things that are like that are right next to melted stone. And you would think that people would pick up on the correlation there, but I don't even think they see the first half. There's a lot of people out there that translate this stuff to see it, completely see it, man. Like dead on. They know exactly what it is. Resonance is the answer to everything, man. It's that's why I want to look at it more.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I have a stupid question.
Yeah, go for it.
How many axes of motion does smoke have?
Smoke?
Yeah.
4?
I don't know the answer. Does somebody in the chat know the answer?
I don't know.
Because it go up, down, left, right. So that's 2. Right. Go forwards, back. That's 3. It could roll in one direction. That's 4. And roll in another direction. That's 5. And it could turn into itself. That's 6. And then that turn into itself could probably then rotate another way. That's 7. So what's the answer?
I guess. There's all of them.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's got it right. Because of what it is, it's sort of, it could have them all. Whatever them all is.
Wow. Man, there's some stuff going on in the chat. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, right. And we're the ones that are off track, for Christ's sakes. That say we're in left field. They're not even in the ballpark sometimes. But
No, they got
most
their
of the
own
time
party
they're-
going on, man.
Yeah, no, I love that though. That's the best. That's what the community's about. We're just talking nonsense. They're doing their own thing. You know, praise be to the people that have us as background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, Joe, it took a lot to get rid of this problem in my back, man. So check this out. I took the Advils, okay, and a bunch of them just to get the muscle to let go because it was super tight. And then I had to sleep every night in the reclining chair because my back would not tolerate the bed or anything like that, not the couch, anything you're laying down, would not do it. And then as soon as my low back started to heal, right above it, I pulled the muscle right above it, lifting up my granddaughter. So I go, oh my God, dude, this is never going to end, right? So, and then just miraculously, I slept in a couple days and I go, wow, what a big difference, dude. It started to all go away.
Awesome. It's still a lot of effort and a lot to go through, man. I think we've all suffered at a time or another, and it's never a pleasant time.
No.
So,
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I think a lot of this stuff, when we talk about it, we got to build it. And I don't mind helping people build it, but we got to build it. It's got to be done. Because here's the thing, if all we're doing is spitting out, you know what I mean, what it could be, then we're no better than what the physicists are doing. You know what I mean? We might as well just be writing it in math form. It doesn't really matter. You got to show some of it. So,
yeah.
and then hopefully somewhere down the line, somebody will pick up all of it, put it all together, and we'll all be good. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I agree. All right, let's address the chat real quick. For the record, Jeremiah, Cody Creative Studios, that's Brandon. Brandon's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's also retarded. You have to forgive him. He's Canadian. He can't help it. He lives in the backwoods. He's extremely intelligent and understands nothing. It is my constant frustration and love for that man. And the daily struggle, which is real. So he's also hilarious and extremely rude, which is funny to me because I have
Oh, it is really funny.
because I have a terrible sense of humor. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about what dangles on him because I don't know what's going on there. That's a shame. He's a sad story. Leave the guy alone. Don't take him too hard, and definitely don't take him personally.
How
You're
would
told
you
he's in
know
love
what
with that
dangles on him? How would you know?
Well, I mean, I created a picture one time to remind him. and then that numbnuts sends that off to girls that he's talking to, and somehow they're not repulsed. Yo, I'm telling you, man, I can't understand it for the life of me, bro. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's Brandon.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
He also turned his entire trailer that he lives into an etheric antenna.
oh, he did. Yeah.
So, like he's not doing nothing, I'll tell you that.
Dude,
He made a cutting board almost jump off of his friggin' countertop one time. That was pretty rad.
He's got that TV in there, man, that freaks me out. Always like a horror show you think's gonna happen when you see a TV.
Oh, dude. I don't know. Right. That thing straight reminds me of The Exorcist, man.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Or the poltergeist. The poltergeist. That's what it is.
Oh.
Oh, I definitely watch South Park, man. Come on. I'm a total idiot. I love that stuff. The dumber the better, the ruder the better. It's just what it is.
Oh
All right.
man, they drugged
I-
Katy Perry for that spaceship thing.
All right. I've been instructed to stop by Paul, and I love Paul, so I'm gonna stop. That's what I'm gonna
Hmm.
do.
Oh man, those women rode the biggest wiener in the world to space, and then they didn't even get to be called astronauts. You know, I was telling Joe, all they needed was a couple fuel cells on the side. You know what I mean? So a couple big brass ones to put there on the side of that ship, man. Boom! It would have kept them up there much longer, so that they got more credit. Yeah.
For real. I think the funny thing to do would be just to like load all of those people that could afford to take that trip, that are like of that group, so to speak, and tell them that they're all going on these space flights and just send them off into space and don't bring them back. And then you could just AI generate them kissing the ground. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like, and look at their successful trip. And so like, meanwhile, it's like, sayonara, motherfucker. you know?
We'll send them to the space station and see if they can translate in Russian and bribe their way back. Oh,
Oh, for real? Oh, that'd be
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, dude, that's like the ultimate reality show right there.
Oh
That,
man, is it worse to die in space or die with like a Russian cosmonaut like sitting there like giving you some space boom boom, you know what I mean? Like against your will.
well, before, no, they would be agreeable to it so they can get home.
Yeah. Right, I guess so, right?
A little bit of
You
space
want some
bribery.
liquid? Anyway,
Oh, man.
I digress. Yeah, very bad. Not even
So,
fun. Not even funny.
Joe, we got to find something to do that day when we eat the chicken wings besides eat the chicken wings. Because you know how stupid contests go. You got to do something while your face is burning off.
All right. Should we get like Steve-O and like them to like play pranks on us or something? Like, I mean,
No,
that's showing my age. Like
I'm,
he doesn't even have real teeth anymore.
oh man, no. I was thinking more like you have to recite something while your mouth's on fire, or you know what I mean. Right, take a physics term and explain it. You know what I mean? Something stupid, somewhere everybody can see you suffer.
Okay, yeah, we're down. I'm down with
Dude,
that.
I can tell you right now, man, it's gonna be a horror show for me. I have no teeth, man. So going over there and eating these things, man, you got to remember, you got to bite down on this stuff. So my whole entire gums are going to be on fire. There's no getting around it, man. There's nothing there. Look, there you
Oh yeah,
go.
right. That's right. Old man doesn't have any teeth, so he's gonna be gnawing at these fucking things, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
By the way, limited state. Yes, I agree. I never gress. What do you want from me, man? Here you are. You're watching. Like, if you ever want to hit me up and tell me how to gress, I will try my best. Probably won't.
There's a dress code on the show. I wasn't aware of that.
What's that? A dress code?
Yeah, is that what you guys were talking about? The dress code?
When I say dress code, no, gress. I said I digressed. He's like, how can you digress?
Oh,
You haven't even gressed yet. That's what he said.
way off in
My
left
bad.
field.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, barbecue flavored coil.
Yeah. There you
Nice.
go.
They make
Dude,
all sorts of weird filaments now. You probably get a barbecue scented coil.
oh man. Yeah. Well, you got to be a little, take some humility in yourself. See, that's what this show is, man. Do a little bit of fun stuff, some science stuff, build some things. You know what I mean? Talk about them, and then do a bunch of stupid stuff. That's about
Amen.
where we go.
What happens when the dope is on? That's why I am who I am.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
plasma.
this is why I also give other people like super amounts of credit because like to talk about this stuff for like 3 hours straight and like keep it straight is like
Oh, Dude, some of those people, let me just say this to anybody out there who's listening. If you show up in front of a campfire and start reciting physics, dude, I think I'm going to lose my mind. Like, I can't watch it. It's my mind says go to sleep immediately.
Depends on how much weed you smoke. Yeah.
Dude, I don't have to smoke any. Dude, I'll be completely sober, ready to watch, excited, and then you start talking next to a fireplace, dude, and I'm out. I'm like, dude, this isn't worth it. Like, there's nothing you can say to make it worth it at this point. Like, nothing. It's completely pointless. I mean, if you change your name to Deep, you're in trouble, dude. I don't know what to say. There's some deep poo is what we were waiting in watching that. I just can't do it anymore. I can't.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna give a preview real quick of my hot sauce eating abilities. Give me 30 seconds flat. I'll be right back. Hold on. Yeah, I'll give everybody a preview.
Oh, let's see if he burns his mouth off. See that chicken again. Oh man, gummies. Get you some baked goods with it in there. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, some things I can't watch. Gotta see Joe. We're gonna see what his tolerance is. Now, mind you, I do eat hot food, so don't think I don't.
All right, here we go.
All right.
So, on hand, I have scorpion pepper Tabasco sauce. So this isn't that hot, but it's pretty hot. And look, I even have a tattoo on my hand that's specifically for sauce tasting. It's also the Dodge Fratzog, right? Where I could load up the center of my Fratzog like that, and then go. Yeah, no, does nothing. Okay. So,
is that part of your recipe to blow out your beehole?
This is the third hottest pepper in the world. All right. This sauce made with the first hottest pepper in the world, Carolina Reaper sauce. All right. See how we do. Now, in my experience, this is not the hottest Carolina Reaper sauce I've had, but it's hot. I got it. All right, carry on. You're fucked. I'm not even phased.
Oh, it's a good thing I like Indian food, man. I'll be all right for a little while.
I eat Indian food all the time, man. It's one of my favorites.
Hey, man, I'm not gonna lie though, bro. I probably will, unfortunately, cry, but not because I'm crying, because it's gonna literally make my whole body sweat. So, yeah.
Yeah, you'll be okay, man. You'll survive.
Oh yeah, for the night maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
But the next week when it goes through your system, or day, depending on how it works.
You know, me and my hemorrhoids were not friends.
Oh man.
All right, for everybody saying bit red, but nothing. Here, hold on. Look, same one. Nope, where is it? Nope, wrong way. There we go. No, still not. Yep, there we go. Carolina Reaper. There we go. Another one. Make sure I get it all.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said that's not enough. You got to chug it.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I think that was me. I was just
put a tit on it.
Oh man, get you off your diet. You got to have chicken with that, Joe.
I mean, something would have helped, probably. I mean, I haven't eaten anything in days, so I'm kind of feeling it in my stomach a little bit. But I mean, other than that, I'm generally okay. So.
Oh my god, dude, that's gonna hurt. All right, that's all right, man. I'm good for it.
All right,
I'll do it. I'm gonna do it. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, man. I enjoy it, so I'm down. Any excuse.
He says it's some cleavage sauce.
I'm trying to do away with that.
I don't think so, Joe. I think you're right in the mix, buddy. You'd be motorboating all day.
Oh, on that end of it, I'm trying to get rid of my own tits.
Oh, well. Yeah, I got you there.
Oh, please. Boobies are like the universal love language, man. Like, nobody doesn't like boobies. Like men, women, straights, gays, everybody loves boobies.
Universal truth. He says proper. That's right.
True, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't think I'm sweating, though. I think my head's a little greasy, but aside from that, I don't think it's sweating.
Well, look, you took it a lot better than I would, man. Let me just say that, okay?
I mean, I've eaten things before where it's like, oh, but I mean, that's like, I don't even know why people would do that, frankly. And like, I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel it in my stomach right now. Like, I need something to drink.
Yeah, go back to the pea juice.
Yeah, something just to water it down. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't, you know what? Honestly, I don't like a lot of ginger when I try to lose weight.
No?
It slows down my heart rate. And it doesn't allow you to lose as much weight.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but you got to put the lemon with it when you're cooking. So,
Yeah, citrus a lot of times. I did with this concoction that I did the natural apple cider vinegar, the fermented one. So
that stuff is awful. Don't even try to put a smiley face on that. That stuff is awful.
Oh no,
that's
no,
shoe leather.
I'm telling you right now, it's good the way that I put it.
Don't even.
Yeah, you don't even taste it.
My wife told me, she goes, "Oh, go ahead, Nathan, take some of this before you go to bed." Dude, I wanted to vomit before I went to bed.
Well, if you drink it straight or you drink it with water, yeah, it's that bad. It smells like bad athlete's foot or something like that. I don't know.
Horrible. Yeah, horrible stuff, man. Yeah, you just taste the vinegar and it burns, acids.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I wish I could send you some and have it still be good by the time I got to you. I don't think it would be though. But like the way that I'm doing it it's proper. It's good. By the way, it's actually catching up with me. It's having a little afterburn effect. So
there you go.
It's not nothing.
Well, that's at least a sign that you might be, having some pain with me.
Oh yeah. Like I'm like my mouth is feeling it now.
There you go.
It wasn't before. So
well, you gotta choose the hot sauces, Joe. So
all right.
Do your darndest, man, and then
well, I think we should definitely have this one as probably one of the hotter ones because I don't think I'd push you further than this. That wouldn't be fair.
Well, you gotta have like a death one for both of us. Where as soon as you touch it, it's done. And if you've already licked it off your hand, that's not it.
All right, fine. I'll go on Amazon and find one.
Yeah, just tell me what it is, dude. I'll order it for both of us. It would be good.
All right, let's do it.
That way we both have the same exact thing and there's no getting out of it. And you cook your wings however you want to cook them. Okay.
Sounds good. I'm in.
I'm just gonna bake them because I need to continue to lose weight after this. And
yeah, no, I'm still gonna be right. I'm on board. We're gonna end up doing it the same way. So oh man.
I did that too. You ever cook with the hot peppers and then you forget you're playing with hot peppers and you touch your eyeballs? And then
worse than that, brother. Yes. But yes, of course.
Your eyeballs are on fire, your nose gets on fire, everything's on fire, man. And
everything's on fire. Yep.
Oh yeah, well, hopefully you're not touching down there because then you're really hurting.
Yeah, I made that mistake before.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, no thanks for that, man.
Yeah, that's it. How about them Tauruses, dude?
Got some big fiery ones at that point.
Oh boy.
Oh, he said he touched. Lemon said he touched his wife. Oh, wasn't too happy with that, man.
That's awful. Like cutting jalapenos and stuff, and then putting the pot of chili on, and then trying to rile up your wife. Terrible.
Oh man, everything's on fire.
Uh,
Oh, that's hilarious, bro. Oh, it was Reapers. Oh,
yeah. All right, excuse me 1 second. My dog never barks, and he's continuously barking. So now I'm curious. Hold on.
gotcha.
What's up, bud? Show me.
Just got the police at his house for eating hot sauce. Oh man, Reapers. That's hilarious. Oh man. Yeah, it's gonna be cool, man. The little contest, little action here. You guys get to see us suffer a little bit.
What a horrible guard dog. He never ever barks. He's sitting there repeatedly barking. There's nothing there. I don't know what's going on with him.
I don't know, bro.
No idea. No clue.
Okay, so can I ask what you boys weigh? He wants to win. So I'm at 325.
And my start was 221.
So yeah, we're nowhere near that right now. Both of us are doing good, staying on it. So
yeah, and we're a weekend with 2 to go, pretty much.
Yeah, 3 weeks. So
yeah,
I mean, we'll see how far it goes, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm taking it straight to the end, and I know you will too. So
yeah. Well, they don't have anything here at the house unless you cook it, unless you want to eat a bunch of junk food like Cheez-Its or something, which I can't eat any of that stuff anymore. So yeah, there's no chance of me eating anything else. I have to go in and physically make all my food for the week. So
yep, and I've just been batch cooking it too. That's it. Which is great because you know what? I did my dishes, and then now I don't have any dishes because it's just dump. It's the same exact thing. It's like one thing to wash a day.
My kids wouldn't do dishes, so I just bought them paper and plastic. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, throw it away because I'm not doing them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really sorry again, but you have to excuse me just for 1 second. I don't know what
you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Good night from Austria. Sorry. Man. You guys all have all kinds of different time zones when you watch this show. It's awesome. I think I'm meeting people around the world, man. Every time I have a guest on or something, they're always from a different area. So, way awesome. A lot of people in England. So.
All right, he's not a bad.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just remarking, Joe. We got a lot of people from around the world to watch this show.
Oh yeah, Yanni. He's from Australia. Okay, yeah. Well, hello to the down under.
Oh well, yeah. I don't let a lot of people post anything in there. I have a stalker who keeps sending me stuff. So until that goes away and changes, I won't allow that. Not for that. Well, you should have my email. I just sent you something the other night. I sent you a link. So yeah, this dude, he sent me an email trying to get personal information about me. And he thought I didn't know who he was. And he's used like 4 different names on my channel. It's like, dude, at some point just give up and go away, dude. I don't want nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Avoid my channel. Don't show up. I mean, it was kind of Yeah, I don't need that stuff around my granddaughter.
Oh, it's really sketch. I have no idea what's going on with that.
Yeah, I can share the name privately, Jeremiah, but I won't do it publicly. That's not fair. Not fair to anyone, and just leave it at that. Right on, man. Yeah, I just try to ignore it. Anyway, he says he has it now.
Okay, good.
Good.
One less thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was asking for one of the viewers' emails. Yeah, that's hard to share because YouTube doesn't really allow you to share
No.
without like, in the chat, except if you get creative, then I guess you can. Like that's how I connected with a couple people on here. I had to say my name in 4 different parts and say where. Find me.
That's horrible, man. I don't like that either.
No. Yeah. Well, there's your free speech for you.
Yeah.
I guess they do it for people's general better protection, but everybody should be responsible for themselves. Is what it is.
Oh, I agree. Oh, good, man.
I'll tell you, man, the heat on that one builds. I think we're gonna do this one for part of that challenge.
Oh, it's coming back on you, huh?
Yeah, it's like coming in waves, man. It's crazy.
It's like boiling the pepper and vinegar for a few minutes and then using that vinegar in your sauce so that it has back heat through the back of your throat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's how I like my Carolina barbecue sauce, out of vinegar and peppers. Same way.
Good, Joe. Suffer a little more. You're giving me hope.
Yeah. It definitely has to do with my empty stomach.
Oh, yeah. That's why I wouldn't do it right now.
Yeah, it's fine. You know how much I've suffered for this to bother me? You know what I mean? Like, if this is going to be what takes me out, man, then I've learned nothing.
Yeah, I got you there, man. Yeah, the hard thing for me was the water. Is going with the water because I like flavorful drinks. So that's the hard part.
Yeah. Well, structure your water. See if you get it taste like orange juice.
Oh, there you go.
Huh?
I haven't done any of those tests lately. I've been out of it. So it was just fun to rip some Tesla coils, dude. I took some things that I built and I always test everything before I send it out. So I'm over here ripping AC voltage. I usually don't do that, man. Usually Sean does all that. But I think you saw the video. I showed it last time. I mean, we're just ripping AC out there. No problems with these things. One wire weight loss program. Nice.
Where do you plug it in?
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, that comes right back down to that fat cavitation machine I was telling you about too. You really want to tie two things together? There you go, right there. Uses ultrasound and RF, to sit there and basically melt the fat by tuning into its resonant frequency, and then it just drains out of your lymph system.
That's gross, bro.
Yeah, it works. It works.
I always figure you got to pay for what you did. At some point, you took the wrong turn and you gained all this weight, so you got to pay for it. So,
yeah, that is true. All right. I hate to be the one, but I think we should wrap it up pretty soon if we're going to do that recording too.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll talk nonsense all night.
No, I agree with you, man. I got to come up with a list of questions because there's a lot going on, man. So, cool. Let's do that. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody in the chat, man. You guys have been awesome. Thank you, Joe, for coming out and hanging out with me, bro.
Of course.
And guys, we got some cool stuff coming up. So stay tuned, man. And don't forget to help Joe go mining again, man.
Yes, thank you for everybody that's donated. There was another donation that came in, and getting a lot closer to being able to actually sign up, get out there again to the big mine, and do a virtual dig. And I've been keeping up with that mine on their social media and stuff.
Mhm.
And the last couple of days, they pulled some friggin' crazy crystals out of there, like
Nice.
like big stuff. One of them was the size of like a bowling ball, like that big. And I think they opened that one up today. So, yep, definitely going to be getting back out there. Anything that you're able to do to help me get out there would be appreciated. It's like borderline shameful feeling for me to put my hand out. It's not something I like to do, but I feel like it's a good way for to be together in the community for the content and get some different natural piezoelectrics out to the team and stuff that we could use in our experimentation. And it's something I'm excited to do. So if you could afford to help, it's greatly appreciated.
Right on, guys. All right. With that said, there it is. There's the link. It's in the description. All right, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Peace and love,
The
fellas.
old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality been stricken from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to instead. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds.